All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful mindset, one that fuels some of the world's absolute greatest performers. And it's a way of thinking that, isn't just about winning. It's about this relentless, almost joyful pursuit of growth. So let's get right into it.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds totally counterintuitive. I mean, we're always told that you need a will to win, a winner's mentality, right? But what if that intense pressure to win is actually the very thing that's holding you back, the thing that's causing us to stumble? Okay, let's really explore this idea, because that classic winner's mentality we hear so much about, well, it can often turn into a kind of psychological trap, and we're about to see exactly why that is. This right here really shows the disconnect, doesn't it? The ideal, what we all think we're aiming for, is on the left. That pure, positive drive for victory. But the reality, especially for people in these super high-stakes situations, is what you see on the right. The pressure gets so intense that it's not even about winning anymore. It becomes this chicken race where everyone is just desperately trying not to be the first one to lose. It's all about avoiding defeat, not achieving victory. And that's a direct path to anxiety and, honestly, self-sabotage. All right, so if that traditional winner's mindset can be such a trap, what's the alternative? Well, there is one. It's a framework called the mentality of more and more, and it's something we see perfectly embodied in these modern titans, guys like Shohei Ohtani and Sota Fujii.
So here's the crucial point. For people who have this mindset, winning is not the finish line, not even close. It's just a milestone, a data point on a much, much longer journey. Now don't get me wrong, they have a strong desire to win, for sure, but they're still totally unsatisfied by the win itself. Why? Because their real focus is on one thing and one thing only: constant, never-ending self-development.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory, We can actually see it in action in some of the most dominant figures in their fields. So let's take a look at 3 absolute legends who basically live and breathe this philosophy. First up, you've got baseball's once-in-a-century talent, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, this guy is the perfect example of how this mentality operates at the absolute highest level of professional sports. You might remember this famous quote. He said it to his teammates right before the World Baseball Classic final. And it gets to the absolute heart of his philosophy. See, Ohtani understood something critical. If you idolize your opponent, you've already lost. You've accepted, on some level, that you can't surpass them. You've put a ceiling on yourself before the game has even started. And this way of thinking, it extends to his personal goals too. You see it every single year. Reporters try to get him to name a number. How many home runs this year? How many wins? And every single year, he refuses. But why? Well, think about it. If he sets a goal of, say, 50 home runs, and then he hits that number in August, what happens next? There's a real danger he might get complacent, even just a little. So by setting no specific target, he sets no artificial ceiling on what he can achieve. His ambition is just limitless. Okay, now let's jump to a completely different arena, the world of Japanese chess, or shogi. Because here, we find this young master, Sota Fujii. And what's wild is that he displays the exact same psychological framework.
Fujii's behavior after he wins a match is it's unbelievable. There's no celebration, no fist pump, nothing. Instead, he immediately starts analyzing his own mistakes from the game he just won. I mean, can you imagine being his opponent? You've just been crushed, and the guy who beat you is already pointing out his own flaws, thinking about how he could have played even better. It's such a clear sign that for him, the goal isn't just the win. It's about achieving perfect play.
And look, this isn't some newfangled mindset. It's also perfectly captured by Japan's legendary home run king, the great Sadaharu O. I mean, this quote just nails the whole idea, doesn't it? Success is temporary. The real focus is always on the next challenge. Because, let's be real, dwelling on today's home run does absolutely nothing to help you hit one tomorrow. It's all about that constant renewal, that relentless forward momentum. Okay, so the big question is, how can we apply this powerful mindset in our own lives? Well, the philosophy of these masters can actually be broken down into 4 clear, actionable principles. Let's break them down one by one. First, set no limits. Just refuse to accept thoughts like, this is good enough, or that's impossible. Second, set no numerical targets. You want to avoid those concrete numbers that can accidentally become a ceiling on your growth. Third, and this is a big one, compare only to yourself. The only competition that matters is you versus the you of yesterday. And finally, number 4, embrace self-responsibility.
Take full ownership and never, ever blame outside factors for a lack of progress.
You know, let's dig into that third principle a little deeper, because it's just so important. The stuff on the left, that's a trap. We all fall into it. Comparing yourself to other people, it only leads to one of two places: feeling defeated or getting complacent. Neither is good. But the column on the right, that's where all the growth lives. It's a limitless game that you can always, always win, just by focusing on your own progress over time.
And that brings us right to that fourth principle, self-responsibility. It's like the saying goes, bloom where you are planted. Because think about it, the second you start blaming your circumstances, the economy, your boss, bad luck, whatever, your growth just stops, dead in its tracks. You've given yourself an out, an excuse not to try. But when you take full responsibility, you suddenly realize there is always something you can do right here, right now, to get better.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. Let's talk about what this actually means for you on your own unique path forward.
And this right here, this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. The level of accomplishment is totally, completely irrelevant. You do not have to be a world-class athlete or a shogi genius to use this mindset. It applies just as much to a complete beginner learning a new skill as it does to a world champion defending their title. Seriously, your current level just does not matter.
So then what does matter? It's simply this. Are you focusing on your own trajectory? Is your future self better than your current self? When you have a setback, and you will, can you still find a way to advance 3 steps after retreating 2? See, the goal isn't to be Ohtani or Fujii. The real goal is to cultivate your own mentality of more and more, right inside yourself.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to take with you. In what area of your life have you maybe accepted good enough as the finish line? Where have you, maybe without even realizing it, set a limit for yourself? Because the very first step to adopting this mindset of more and more is to just identify that limit and then make the decision to move past it.